because weekend is the only time we have for ourselves. Then our government, our job, our business takes our life, right? So thank you for coming. We'll spend some time with the Lord now, this next 1.5 hours. At the beginning, I would like to congratulate all of you here for taking the holy sankalpa of installing Lord Jagannath, Lord Balabhadra, Devi Subhadra and Chakra Sudarshan in your temple here, the Sanatana temple. As we feel, it is actually the Lord Himself manifesting. It is His desire to manifest in Tampa, and He gets His show done through His instrumentalities. So it is really His desire and His play that is going on. So when we have the Lord here, we must know who the Lord is. If we know who the Lord is, then alone can we love Him. And when we love the Lord loves us back. I mean, the Lord is always loving us. But then we are able to receive His grace. We become eligible and competent to receive His grace. Then all that we desire from our life is fulfilled. If the Lord's grace is not there, then we are tossing and turning in this world of samsara, which is endless and always going up and down like the stock market. And it is very frustrating. But when we receive the grace of the Lord, everything is resolved and life becomes full of harmony, peace and success. So, to love the Lord, we must know the Lord. Without knowing someone, you cannot love that someone. And if that someone is really great, is really wonderful, the more you know him, the more you will love him. So, now we Bharatiya, children of our great land of Bharata, from north to south, east to west, we know about Sri Ram Bhagwan, because we heard the Ramcharitmanas or the Ramayana. We know about Sri Krishna, Lord Krishna, because we've heard about the Srimad Bhagavatam. We know about Lord Shiva, about Devi Durga, Lord Ganesha. But who is this Lord Jagannath? Question mark. He doesn't look like any of the gods or goddesses known to this planet Earth. Forget about Sanatana Vedic Dharma. All gods and goddesses are some form we can understand, we can interpret. Our mind will not be confused. But when we see Lord Jagannath, if you look at him, Is it something familiar, anything resembling anything on this planet Earth? No. He is so extraordinary, so different that really we cannot know him. Now, to know him, we have to follow the correct path. The right procedure has to be adopted, like in any field of knowledge. We have to go to the right source, otherwise we will be going in circles. As in Christianity and in Islam and Buddhist, Jain, Sikh traditions, Sanatana Vedic Dharma, which is much more ancient to any of these, the path is the same, the procedure is the same, that is, the scriptures. To know about our gods and goddesses, to know about the spiritual truth, we have to go to the scriptures, because the scriptures are the words of wisdom of the realized masters who have seen the truth. They are mantra drishta. They have seen the truth. Just like you are seeing me and I am seeing you, like that they have seen the truth means they have seen God. They have direct experience of the God. So we believe that what they have given out in the form of scriptures is true and correct. And we believe in it. So to know about Lord Jagannath, the authentic and the correct procedure is to straight away go into the scriptures. So without wasting time, let us start our journey. Now, Rig Veda is the most ancient religious scripture of mankind. Now the scholars have got different viewpoints as to when it was written, but we shouldn't get bothered about that. Just understand that it is very, very ancient. Some say 10,000, some say more, some say 5,000. Let's not bother about that. Just understand it is the most ancient religious literature, most ancient spiritual revelation of mankind. Rig Veda is the first of the four Vedas, and the four Vedas are the foundation of Sanatana Vedic Dharma, which is our great, glorious heritage. And in Rig Veda, as you see here, there is a shloka appearing in the 10th chapter, which says, Adoyat Garu Plavate, etc., which in English, the great Vedic scholar, Sayanacharya, in the 14th century, interpreted that shloka as saying, there exists on the seashore, in a far-off place, the image of a deity of the name Purushottama, which is made of wood, floating as it were in the sea. O ye seeker, by worshipping that wood indestructible, attain the supreme place of the Vaishnavite. So here we find a very brief mention of Purushottama, and the word Purushottama here denotes Lord Jagannath, because Lord Jagannath is referred to in the scriptures more as Purushottama than as Jagannath. It's okay. So a similar shloka is also found in the Atharva Veda. Now, the Vedas actually do not elaborate the Leelas of Sri Krishna or Sri Rama, which are found subsequently in the Puranas and Itihasas. So here also, although there is a mention about Lord Jagannatha in the Vedas, there is no elaboration of his Leelas. But it is very interesting to see that in the earliest literature of mankind, there is reference to Lord Jagannatha, Purushottama, which shows that the presence of Sri Purushottama Jagannatha is very, very ancient. Now, how ancient it is, we will see by and by. Let us proceed now. We find elaborate mention of Lord Jagannath in all these Puranas that you will see. Among them, you will see Brahma Purana. There are 1,000 shlokas in a portion called Purushottama Kshetra Mahatmya, where the Leela of Lord Jagannath is elaborately mentioned. However, Skanda Purana, which is the most voluminous of all the Puranas, it's even more voluminous than Srimad Bhagavad. and it contains the Sthala Mahatmya, that is the spiritual glory of all our places of pilgrimage in India, in all the sampradayas. The great glory is mentioned of all the places of pilgrimage. So here actually we find the most comprehensive presentation of the glory of Lord Jagannath. We will go there by and by. Now in Sanskrit scriptures also there is mention of Lord Jagannath in all these texts, as you see, which are ancient also. And then in Odia literature, of course, a number of our revered saints have composed literature on Lord Jagannatha, but mainly taking from the Skanda Purana. So let us now go to the Skanda Purana. In Skanda Purana, in the second chapter, second khanda, which is known as Vaishnava Khanda, and in the second part of that khanda we have Sri Purushottam Kshetra Mahatmya. It's also known as Utkal Khanda, where in 60 chapters consisting of about 3,863 shlokas, the entire legend of Lord Jagannath, the glory of Lord Jagannath, is elaborately mentioned. So let us start off with this Puranic narration, because this is where we come to know the authentic and true account, legendary account, the true explanation of how Lord Jagannath manifested in Purushottam Dham in this form. We, in our tradition, in Sanatana Vedic Dharma, and also the Bible, the Christian and the Muslim traditions, we go by what the scriptures say as correct. There are other stories which are attached, which are interpolations. We should not give importance to those versions, and we should go by strictly by what the scriptures say, because what the scriptures say is the truth, and we should go by that. So let us see what Skanda Purana tells us about Lord Jagannath. The story begins somewhere in ancient time, in some forest, probably in Naimisharanya in North India. Maharishi Jaimini, who was one of our great realized acharyas, is sitting under a tree, and his disciples are sitting in front of him, who are rishis and sadhakas. And one of his disciples asks the question, "Oh Maharishi, you had earlier mentioned about Lord Jagannatha, the Supreme Lord manifesting in Purushottam Dham in wooden form. Now how did that happen?" And we are told that he manifested there to perform Leela, the Supreme Lord desiring to perform Leela like a Manushya, like a human being like us. So we would like to know about that. So can you please explain to us about that? Then Maharishi Jaimini starts the narration, and this Puranic Katha, as we come to know about it, is given to us by Maharishi Jaimini. So Jaimini Maharishi starts, all right, I will tell you how this happened, because I heard it from Lord Skanda. Lord Skanda is Kartikeya, son of Lord Shiva. And Skanda heard it from his father Shiva. And Skanda was telling it to rishis in the Himalayas, and I happened to be there and I heard it, and this is what he said. So what did Lord Skanda say? He said that, look, Lord Brahma, who creates the entire universe, the entire creation, is the handiwork of Lord Brahma. Then Lord Vishnu sustains it, maintains it, and then at the end of the day of Brahma, Lord Shiva comes to wind it up, dissolution. Then the day of Brahma is followed by the night time of Brahma, which is equivalent to the daytime, when there is no creation, everything is gone to a causal state, to a seed form, and after the night is over, Lord Brahma has to again manifest the universe, putting everything in their respective places according to their previous karmas, and the world goes on. So there is creation, there is dissolution, again there is creation, just like day and night. So one problem one question starts coming up in Lord Brahma's mind. Why this game is going on endlessly? Can there be an end to it? I am tired of creating this world, and again it's getting dissolved, and again I have to create it. So can there not be some way by which all this can come to an end? So then he says that, well, no one can really, I do not know the answer, and I am supposed to be all-knowing, knower of all the Vedas, and I do not know the answer. So who is to tell me the solution? This is only the Supreme Lord. Now here you see Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. When you put Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara together, it becomes the Supreme Lord. Okay? The Supreme Lord become Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara to perform their respective functions, but when they are put together, they become the Supreme Lord, because the Lord in essence is one. So he says that one Supreme Lord alone can find a solution to this thing which is in my mind. So he starts praying to Lord, the Supreme Lord. And then obviously the Supreme Lord appears. And here, as you can see in the picture, the Supreme Lord appears as Vishnu. Now this is not Vishnu of the triad of Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, but it is the Supreme Vishnu, Mahavishnu. Because the Katha is found in the Vaishnava Khanda, where the Supreme Lord is in the form of Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So when we say Vishnu, we are not meaning an avatara or an aspect of the Lord, but here Vishnu means the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord appears in Garuda, and of course immediately comes to know what Lord Brahma is wanting, and says that, oh Lord Brahma, what you have in mind is really very difficult, because this creation is my game. You know, I have created, I have willed this creation, and it's happening according to my will, according to the laws that are put in place by me. So how can I reverse it? How can I change it? But then the Lord is full of compassion. He says that, look, you are a part of me, therefore I cannot refuse you. I have to satisfy you. So now I will tell you something which is not known to even you. You who has created this entire universe and put everything in place, even you do not know about this. So then Lord Vishnu says that there is a place in the eastern coast of India, and it is described Uttar Pradesh, and then about Purushottam Dham. And he says that just as you see me here, the Supreme Lord, there in Purushottam Dham, you will find me in the same way. And so you go there, and by and by things will be known to you. Lord Brahma immediately rushes there to Purushottam Dham, and what he sees there? He sees the Lord just as he saw him earlier, Lord Vishnu there. And here, Lord Vishnu, along with Devi Mahalakshmi, as you see on this picture here, this is exactly as it is given in the Skanda Purana. This picture has been drawn exactly as it is found in the Skanda Purana. Lord Vishnu, Sankha Chakra Gada Padma Dhari, Mahalakshmi on his left, holding a veena. In the scripture it is written, she is holding a veena. And behind them, Shesha Ananta, which is Lord Balabhadra, Shesha Ananta. And in front, kneeling down at his feet, is Garudaji. And just behind Garuda, you'll find Sudarshana again with four arms, worshipping Lord Vishnu and Mahalakshmi. And this is on top of a hill called Nilachala or Niladri, which is the present place where the Jagannath temple is located. At that time, it was a huge mountain, and it was looking blue from a distance, so it is called Nilachala, the blue mountain. And behind, if you can see, there's a little pond called Rohini Kunda, where you can see a little lotus there also. And that is where, when there is complete dissolution of the entire universe at the night time of Lord Brahma, the causal essence is called the causal waters come and stay there till it's time for the daytime to begin and the creation to begin. Then again creation takes place from there. So Rohini Kunda is the place where the causal waters remain all the time. So Lord Brahma comes and starts worshipping Lord Vishnu, is full of devotion and starts worshipping Lord Vishnu. And as he is worshipping Lord Vishnu, in the prayers actually, the shlokas which is given in the Puranas, Lord Brahma's invocation and hymns to Lord Vishnu is fantastic. It's nothing but Vedic wisdom. You must go through that. It's really of the highest order. Just as Lord Brahma is worshipping Lord Vishnu and Mahalakshmi, suddenly he sees a crow from somewhere come. The crow is very tired, and the crow sees the water of Rohini Kunda and plunges in the water, drinks some water, and then looks up and he sees Lord Vishnu. And as he sees Lord Vishnu, the crow also becomes shaped like Lord Vishnu and goes to the side of Lord Vishnu. Then Lord Brahma suddenly realizes that what Lord Vishnu had told me earlier is true, because this crow, which is the lowliest among his creations, the most lowliest creature, if that creature by only having darshan of Lord Vishnu takes a divine form, that is to say gets liberated, then what to speak about human beings who are at the top, very highest point of the evolution. So the human beings will also get liberated. So that is correct. By having darshan of Lord Vishnu here, there is liberation. So now I will go and spread the world around, and people will come, have darshan, all the creatures will come, have darshan, and they'll get liberated. As and by everyone is getting liberated, they are going out of the cycle of birth and death. When they go out of the cycle of birth and death, they do not come back again to creation. Then gradually the creation will dwindle and there will be no creation, because everyone is liberated. Creation happens because there is a cause. When we die, if there are some desires left, that is the cause, and we have to take birth again to fulfill those desires. It's a computerized programming behind the mind, because the desire is the seed, and when there's the seed, the plant will sprout. So we die with desires, then we have to take birth again to fulfill that, according to our karmas. But if we reach the state of desirelessness, that only can happen when we reach the highest state of samadhi, then there is no more birth, we go out of the cycle of birth and death. So here what is happening is this: the creatures, by only having darshan of Lord, without any sadhana, they are getting instant mukti, darshanat mukti. So Lord Brahma says, well, this is the answer. I will now go and propagate this, and everyone will come and have darshan of Lord and get liberated. And as they are getting liberated, then they don't come back to this world. When they don't come back to this world, there is no more creation for them. So when everyone is liberated, then the creation comes to an end. So he is very happy. But just as he is rejoicing, who comes along? Lord Yama, you see on the extreme right, holding the gada, that is Yamaraj. He comes running and he is very agitated. He says, oh Lord, what have you done? What will happen to my department? My department will close down. Because only if there is death, they will come to me. Now if they're getting liberation, means they're going out of the cycle of birth and death. They don't come to me, and then if everyone is getting liberated, then I have got no job. So what do I do? You tell me now. Now Lord Vishnu has a problem. Okay? How he can satisfy both Lord Brahma and Lord Yama. So we call it the better half, right? Why we call it the better half? Now see here. You see Lord Vishnu here on the picture? He gives a side glance. Now Lord Vishnu and Devi Mahalakshmi, they are in Shastras, it's said, Neela Mani, blue sapphire gemstone, but it's living deity. The Lord is looking at Devi Mahalakshmi, telling, now you solve the problem. You are the better half. Now you somehow work it out. Then Devi Mahalakshmi takes over. And she explains to Lord Yama that, look, Lord Yama, look, what can we do? We are here and we cannot leave this place, because this is our permanent abode. Just like in Vaikuntha, that is our Paramadhama, On this planet Earth, this Purushottam Dhama is our Paramadhama. We never leave it. And then to make it clear, she says that during the night time of Brahma, when there is complete dissolution and the water of the Pralaya, Mahapralaya is all over, Maharshi Markandeya is one of the 8 Chiranjeevis, even when there's complete dissolution, he is there. So Markandeya, swimming in the waters of dissolution, not finding any solid ground, is tired and exhausted, then he suddenly sees something sticking out of the ocean, and then he comes swimming to that and he finds this big tree, Kalpavriksha, which is there, and Lord Vishnu is there and I am there sitting in his lap. So we are there, even in Mahapralaya. Even during the night time of Brahma, we are there, so we cannot leave this place. However, again, Devi Mahalakshmi takes compassion on Lord Yama, and says, look, okay, since you are asking something, we cannot refuse you either. We will disappear in this form. Now, in this form, Lord is described in the Shastras as Madhava, and because his blue sapphire gemstone looking bluish is known as Nila Madhava. She says, Mahalakshmi Devi says that we will disappear from this form, but since this is our home, we have to reappear again, and that will happen much later. During Asatya Yuga, there will be a great emperor called Indradyumna. Through his tapasya, we will reappear again, but in wooden form. And in that form, there will not be darshanat mukti as it is happening now, but there will be mukti. The devotee, the seeker will definitely receive our grace, and they will go on the path towards liberation through their own karmas and sadhanas. Now this satisfies both Lord Brahma and Lord Yamaraj, and they compromise. Mahalakshmi makes this compromise deal, and this brings an end to our Puranic Katha of this part of the background of the manifestation of Lord Jagannath. Because this explains why the Supreme Lord disappears from his appearance, from his manifestation as Madhava and Mahalakshmi and Shesha Ananta, and reappears in the Daru form as Lord Jagannath, Lord Balabhadra and Subhadra. Okay. So let us now proceed. Now this one chapter is over now. Now let's move on to the next part of the legend. And we come to the time of Emperor Indradyumna. Now it's important to understand when is this time. As you will see here, this is the time of the first kalpa. This is the first kalpa. We are also in the first kalpa. Kalpa means day of Brahma. The day of Brahma is called kalpa. And the name of this kalpa is Svetabaraha kalpa. And this is the time of the Satya Yuga, in the time of the first Manu. The first Manvantar, which is called as the time of Swayambhuva Manu, that is the time of Maharaja Indradyumna. Okay? And this is the beginning of the 51st year of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma has got 100 years of lifetime. After that, another Brahma comes, but the Brahma who's there now, we are in his 51st year. The first 50 years of Lord Brahma, the Supreme Lord in Purushottam Dham was in the form of Madhava, which we just saw. And the Lord later on will say that in the next 50 years of Lord Brahma's time, I will remain as Lord Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra in wooden form. So this makes one thing very clear to us, that this Lord Jagannath, therefore, is not an avatara. In all the yugas, we have the avatars coming, but you will see that Lord Jagannath is going to be there during all the next 50 years of Lord Brahma's life. And in that 50 years, many Manvantars will come, and in each Manvantar, many Chaturyugas will come. So to get a clear understanding, let's move ahead and have a quick look at that. Now we are in the time of the 7th Manu, whose name is Vaivasuta Manu. And we are in the Kali Yuga of the 28th Chaturyuga. And when I did the mathematical calculation between the first Manvantara at the time of Emperor Indradyumna and our time now, there is a time gap of almost 196 crore human years. Okay. So this is what the Shastras tell us. And this is the calculation. This is given in the Srimad Bhagavad Mahapurana and also in the Jyotisha Shastras. Kali Yuga, you can see, is the shortest Yuga, 4,32,000. Twice that amount is Dwapar, 3 times that amount is Treta, 4 times that time is Satyuga, and all the 4 Yugas put together makes 43,20,000 years, human years. And when this Chaturyuga, the 4 Yugas have gone around, rotation gone around 71 times, that is one Manvantar. Okay? So, and there are in 14 Manus and 6 Chaturyugas in one day of Brahma. So we are in the time of the 7th Manu, that means we are around the midday of Lord Brahma in this 51st year. So let's not get too much bothered about this, but you can see how ancient. The modern science and Darwin's theory is something else, but our Shastras tell us something else, which is going beyond. Actually, all this is by going beyond the mind. Mr. Darwin, Mr. Einstein, they had a mind. And they went to the frontiers of the mind, but they were limited by the mind. They could not go beyond the mind. Now our great acharyas went beyond the mind. And when they went beyond the mind, they could know what happened in the past, what is happening now, what is going to happen in the future. They were Trikaladarshis. And that all happens when they go beyond the mind. So, that's what they tell us, and this is what it is. 6 Manvantars have gone by, and 27 Chaturyugas, and plus 3 Yugas. So that's how 196 crore human years. So now, let's move back to the time of Maharaja Indradyumna, who was the paramount sovereign of the known world at that time. All the kings were owing their allegiance to the Maharaja Indradyumna. And his capital was not Puri. His capital was Avanti Nagari, which is modern Ujjain, which you see on the map here. And his core kingdom was Malwa Desha, which is basically Rajasthan, southern Rajasthan and northern Madhya Pradesh. But he was the paramount emperor of the known world. And you see where Jagannath Puri is out there on the eastern coast. So, now we are in the time of the first Manu, and Maharaja Indradyumna is the overlord of the entire known world. And Maharaja Indradyumna had achieved everything that he had to achieve, conquered everything that he had to conquer. And so one day, when he has finished his worship in his temple, he is worshipping Lord Vishnu and Mahalakshmi, Lakshmi Narayana, he has something in his mind, in his heart, which has been troubling him for a long, long time, and he cannot hold on to it anymore. So he finally comes out and tells his Raj Purohit, who is standing to his right, "Oh Purohit, there's something in my mind. Look, I have achieved everything that I want to achieve, conquered everything that I need to conquer. My people are all prosperous and happy. My kingdom is doing fantastic, and there's nothing more left for me to do. However, I have only one desire left, and that is to have darshan of the Lord Himself and to worship Him for the rest of my life, to do seva for the rest of my life at His feet. Now here we worship the Lord in the temple through His image, but I want to worship the Lord directly, not His image. So can you tell me such a place where the Lord Himself resides?" Now the Lord has no answer because he does not know. So he asked the assembly of Pandits, scholars, Brahmins and saints, "You have heard the king, so please tell if anyone has seen the place where the Lord actually Himself resides." No one has got any clue. Everyone is silent. And suddenly, one old person, Jatadhari, full of matted hair, gets up and says, "Oh king, I know of such a place. I have traveled all over the world, and finally I have been to that place where the Lord Himself is." And then he starts describing Purushottam Dhampuri, that is where the Lord is. So having described it, that suddenly everyone is looking at him, he disappears into thin air. Everyone is surprised, oh God, what is this? This is a miracle. This is a divine manifestation. The king has no doubt that what he has heard is true because this looks to be a divine play. And the king tells his Purohit that, look, you have to now find this place, send all our people, locate this place, and then I need to go there. So the Purohit says, king, don't worry, I'll send everyone that we can send, and I'll send my younger brother too. So you can see his younger brother out there at the bottom on the right side. I'll send my younger brother too. And his younger brother's name is Vidyapati, and he sends him specifically in the direction of Purushottam Dham. So Vidyapati travels in his chariot rapidly to Purushottam Dham, crosses Mahanadi and comes into Utkal kingdom, and there he is finding a lot of Vedic tradition happening, yajna happening, and learned Brahmins and all that. But they also don't know where the Lord is. Then he is very tired and exhausted, and he's not had anything to eat, by the way, because he's taken the sankalpa till I have achieved my goal, I'm not going to touch food. Then he's exhausted, collapsed under a tree when he hears some faint voices. He goes towards the voices and he finds a small village of Savara. Savara are forest dwellers. And then he's trying to see who's there. So then he sees one elderly person coming down from the mountain, and he goes up to him, and the person sees him and recognizes that he's a Brahmin, and he welcomes him, and he introduces himself. Oh Brahmin, I am Vishwabasu, I am the chief of this village. Tell me what we can do. You look very tired and thirsty. Please come to my humble cottage and refresh yourself. So he takes him in and serves him delicious prasadam. Now the Brahmin is flabbergasted. He is surprised. How in this remote forest where there is nothing, you are able to get anna, dali, and all these lovely, dishes, vegetarian dishes, and such lovely divine fragrance. How is it? Now, the tribal chief is in a fix. Now, the tribal chief has found out that this is Vidyapati, the younger brother of the Rajpurohit of the great king, the emperor Indradyumna, and who has not heard about Indradyumna. So he's in a fix. Am I going to tell this guy or not? Because he had heard from his forefathers that if the secret is told, the Lord will disappear. That has been told to him. But then he says that how can I refuse a Brahmin? I'll be committing a great sin. And then he's not an ordinary Brahmin. He's from the Rajpurohit family of the great king, Emperor Indradyumna. So I have to tell him. Of course, Vidyapati tells that, look, I'm not going to touch food till I have fulfilled my mission. And my mission is this. I'm going to find out the place where the Lord himself is. So until that is done, I'm not going to accept any food. So finally, the tribal chief decides to tell him, says, yes, the Lord resides here, and I go up the mountain, I alone know the way, and when I go there, what do I see? I see the Lord himself there with Mahalakshmi, and all the gods and goddesses in the heavens, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Indra, Varuna, Agni, all of them come down and they worship the Lord here, and they make their offerings here. And when they've gone back to their respective lokas, I quietly go and get all these things down. And in our village, we have the prasad, and we live long, long time, and no illness, no misery, no tension, nothing. We live very happily. So then Vidyapati is thrilled. Really? You know the place? Let's go right now. I cannot waste a single moment. Then Vishwabasu takes him up the mountain, very narrow track, very difficult to find, full of dense forest and wild animals. They make their way up the mountain. When they come to the top, that is where Vidyapati has darshan of the Lord, just as Lord Brahma had darshan. Then Vidyapati also starts praying to the Lord, and that's again a beautiful prayer of Vidyapati in the Skanda Purana. You must read it. It's all nothing but Vedic wisdom. Beautiful prayer to the Lord. And then he gets lost in emotion and spiritual ecstasy, but then Vishwabasu says, look, we have to go down because our darkness is descending and the wild animals here, it's not safe, so we've got to go down. So Viswavasu goes and takes a Nirmalya garland of Lord Jagannath, gives it to Vidyapati, and then they hurry back down. Now coming down, Vidyapati finally has Mahaprasad there and spends the night there. Next morning he says, I must go immediately to Avanti to give the good news to the king. So next morning, Vidyapati departs. Now here you may have heard this wonderful story, Hollywood story of Vidyapati getting married to Lalita and etc. etc. Please don't believe all that. That is not there in the Skanda Purana. Because as you see, he spends only one night and there is no mention of Lalita in that one night. Okay? So, please go by the Skanda Purana and the Brahma Purana, we believe. Subsequently, our devotees, some of them have, through their own bhava, have added these things, but we don't go by that. We go by what is written in our scriptures. Because this is what Maharshi Vedvyasa has given us and we go by that. So, as Vidyapati is riding hard towards Avanti Nagari, there is a big sandstorm in Purushottam Dham, and the place where the Lord was is covered, and there is no trace left of Lord Vishnu, Devi Mahalakshmi, Sheshananta, Garuda, Sudarshana, all disappeared. Only the tree is there and the Rohini Kunda is there. But this is not known to Vidyapati. Vidyapati is driving hard and he reaches Avanti Nagari. News is given to the king immediately brings him in, and Vidyapati is like glowing. There's a radiance coming out from him, because after all he has had darshan of Lord Madhava, usko unka to mukti ho gaya. And that mala particularly is glowing. The king is surprised, and then naturally the king wants to hear everything. So Vidyapati first goes and gives the garland to the king, and the king has a spiritual experience because that's a divine garland of the Lord. And then Vidyapati tells the king everything that he has gone through. Now the king, there's no limits to the king's ecstasy and joy. He says, okay, tomorrow morning we move. Everyone who wants in the kingdom who wants to come with me are welcome. I want to go spend the rest of my life there serving the Lord. There's nothing else I want. My son will take over the kingdom and he'll look after all those who want to stay back. But I am going.